Adventure. I love it. This one started 40 years ago when I read a book called Illusions. Richard Bach, a modern-day barnstormer, philosopher, and my inspiration. Eric Preston was instrumental in this. An old pal from my Alaska days, a walking encyclopedia of vintage things. An author himself of vintage flyers. 3 volumes filled with extraordinary photos, history, and interesting details of antique and classic aircraft. My fleet voyage from Sonoma, California to Central Texas began with a week-long FlexJet tour of duty, then airline straight to Sacramento. Eric and Anita picked me up and we're off to Sonoma Sky Park to get acquainted with what would be the newest and oldest member of my family, a 1929 Fleet Biplane. Here's a few notes and pictures I took along the way.
Oh, this is great. Hey, thanks.
3 days of studying details, and the deal was done. Attention now turns to the voyage home, flying a 93-year-old, open cockpit, vintage airplane more than halfway across the continent. A little local practice and a lot of preparation. With a heavy dose of humor.
10 gallons of screws, 7 gallons of nuts, 5 gallons of washers.
As plotted, 1,317 nautical miles, 24 gallons of fuel, 2.5 hours endurance. At 75 knots, 1 to 2 hour legs, 15 legs. If all goes well, 5 days of open air flying. Butterflies had long taken flight when my gut told me it was now or never, and I bid farewell. First stop, Tracy, California. A marine layer stretched well into San Pablo Bay, creating a solid undercast. Conditions improved and the butterflies eased just a bit. With San Francisco and Oakland just over the ridge to the west, this would be a different perspective than I most often had flying the corporate jet miles above. Next stop, Fresno, where my buddy Aaron Bartels will loan me a handheld radio and tag me with a spot tracker. Not my best landing, but not my worst.
Man, that thing purrs like a kitten.
The old biplane draws a crowd at the gas pump.
There for 4 years.
If my spirits could be raised any higher, or my anxieties lowered about the long trek ahead, Aaron did that, and then watched as I climbed out and turned south off over the horizon. Overnight in Bakersfield, where the nice folks at Best Aviation were quick to offer hangar space and a crew car. Carol arranged a room at the Hampton, and when the adrenaline drained, I was exhausted. I told a friend that the first 30 minutes flying the fleet is heaven. The next 30 minutes is great fun. 30 minutes more and I'm frazzled and sore. I negotiated for a pillow from the hotel, which improved the cockpit comfort level greatly. Over to Tehachapi, around Edwards Air Force Base, and through the Mojave Desert. At the Apple Valley Airport, there's a terrific restaurant with friendly and furry clientele. A long leg to Blythe, where they're proud of their fuel. On to Buckeye, Arizona, where Marty Frusty, snowbird from Wisconsin, A&P, champ owner, and my new friend arranges access to the big hangar, then drives me to the hotel, then picks me up at sunrise. Seizing the good weather, with a few fresh-baked cookies courtesy of Marty's granddaughter, I'm on my way.
Yep.
San Manuel, Arizona, my kind of place. Beautiful mountains, wide open spaces, and a lonely desert. Finally found some dirt to land on in Lordsburg, New Mexico. The fleet prefers that. My landings are improving, along with my confidence. Totally impressed with the airport facility. Nobody there, but boy, it was very well kept. There's still a whole lot of Wild West out here when seen from an open cockpit. Santa Teresa in the Donna Ana County International Jetport, where a former student of mine and now FlexJet new hire, Mason Jones, greets me and comes up with yet another complimentary hangar and provides some luxury accommodations in my old hometown of El Paso, Texas. Spent half the morning looking for a replacement for one lock nut that went missing from number 5 rocker cover. "40 nautical miles west of Van Horn, I was nosed into the sun and droning along at 7,500 feet when I happened to look down behind my right wing and see a blue and yellow biplane zipping by in the opposite direction, perhaps 1,000 feet below, in the absolute middle of nowhere. What are the odds? I had a strangely elated feeling, wanting to wave and wag. Wondered if he saw me. The fueler in Van Horn verified it was a steerman traveling west. I really wanted to make it to Big Lake today, which would have given me an easy 3 legs home tomorrow. But I'm holed up in Fort Stockton, Texas. The winds ahead are no bueno, and I'm exhausted. So I called fatigue. My personal dispatcher found me a nearby hotel and I sat thinking. My little maintenance delay this morning shot me down because I might have met the steerman guy in Van Horn and I might have beat the winds to Big Lake, Texas. I landed on one of 3 dirt runways here at Fort Stockton, and after a bit of solitude and consternation about the wind, Oscar the Grouch, a former Waco mechanic, showed up and was very accommodating, secured a hangar and a crew car. Anyway, judgment 1, go home-itis 0. Waking up to a refreshed spirit. Just 1 leg today before the winds roared, but it was the most fun day yet on this adventure, and that's saying something. By the kindness of strangers in aviation, while the tumbleweeds race across the ramp, she's tucked in a hangar. Heath Holt, airport manager at Big Lake, Texas. Good guy. There's an excellent Dairy Queen right across the street from the Best Western in Big Lake, Texas. The early bird gets you home. So day 16 started early. Airborne and exhilarated, I watched the sunrise cast colors across the countryside. Racing the wind to Brownwood, Texas. Reporting for duty, ready for action. My little fleet, Victoria, seems eager to join the Fire Boss posse. Cheers for the Brownwood Airport Manager Bobby Burks and firefighters Dan, Steve, Dusty, and Rick. Ready to go to work. While I won the race to Brownwood, Coyote Field was gusting 30 knots.
There he is! Woo! And it's windy! And the wind has really picked up. Yeah, it's gotten worse.
It's nice to be home, but what an adventure. So many things had to fall into place for this to happen as it did. Proof positive that it was meant to be. So many thank yous for both friends and strangers for coming along for the ride. Here's some fun history. Going through a box of paperwork and records, I recently found this handwritten letter from Dick Probert, a renowned aviator and flying boat operator, to a previous owner, Jim Williams. He was reminiscing his time flying my airplane as far back as Christmas 1934, including copies of pilot logbook entries. I was touched by the fact that his logbook shows he flew from Texas to California in 1935 along my recent course.